Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with Challenge Accepted. And today I'm actually accepting a few challenges, a few different ones. The one that Shannon and I agreed on was to take one of the page map sketches that was part of the Rediscover Your Stash Challenge 1 that was issued by Christina Sorge. And this is the particular sketch I'm doing there. The other challenge that I'm doing is this color scheme challenge, which was a different spending freeze challenge in Rediscover Your Stash. It's this color scheme: white, light gray, dark gray, kind of a really cranberry reddish, and a lighter version of that cranberry color, a nice turquoisey teal, and a dark green, tealish dark green. And this is not going to be done today, but you'll see this on a future challenge. This is a grid done with swatches of paint and then just embellished on top and photos put on top. I absolutely love this, and I toyed with the idea of doing this color scheme challenge this way. And since I'm doing two Rediscover Your Stash challenges in one layout, and then I'm piling on another challenge from, or doing my homework, let's say, for the paper lesson in Scrap Academy. I may redo this color scheme challenge, but like this. I just didn't have the right photos to do that yet. So this is the sketch I'm using. This one is an 8.5 by 11, and the cluster in the middle, I just expanded it to a 12 by 12, and I'm going to use butterflies instead of stars. And for the paper challenge, I'm using only paper, no foam propping things up. I'm using paper. No preformed ephemera, other than I'm cheating to use a preformed ephemera title because it's just so perfect. So we'll get to that in a minute. So you're going to kind of see as I do my color schemes, and I'm using, by the way, yet again, kind of some completely different pieces of my Vicki Boutin stash that's in my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit. And so let me kind of show you where I'm headed with this. I thought I would do the background in this nice dark gray that kind of satisfies the dark gray requirement. And then I have these strips of yet an even darker gray that I thought I might throw in as layering pieces behind photo or some of the other layers. This is my dark green, and the lighter leaves on there kind of give it a bit of a teal sort of look. Other than that, it's kind of a forest green back behind it, so I'll use that. This is my light gray. It's a Cocoa Vanilla Legendary, I think, B-side that has these little kind of choop-choops on there, and I really love this particular paper. And I know that's odd because I'm kind of all about gigantic statements in color. This, I thought, really evokes to me the kind of, let me pull my color story out. This kind of represents that turquoisey teal, even though it does have the navy blue around the turquoisey flowers. So those are kind of my greens and turquoises. This red, which is the B-side of an Imaginiste paper from many years ago. It gives me that, that kind of darkish red color. And I've got the lighter pinkish red represented in some butterflies. So the photo pretty much has all of those colors in it. It is a photo that was taken at night of my granddaughter Katie's bedroom. She has this kind of canopy stretched across, hooked to the ceiling, and some posters and framed artwork on her walls. And she bought a projecting light. She has some lights on, string lights around, but she also has these projecting lights, which is what we're seeing on the ceiling here. Now, the original photo that was taken was kind of dark, and my son put it out on Facebook, and because it was taken at night and so that you could see the light, it was dark. When I ran it through this filter in my Waterlog app, which converts things to watercolor paintings, it really brightened it up, and it has that kind of fuchsia purpley. There's lots of blue and green, lots of colors that are not in here, but all the colors that are in here will work well with that photo. So let me just kind of start laying things down, and I'll show you some of the unusual things I'm doing for the paper lesson in, let's see if that eyeballing that looks generally appropriate. I had to figure out how to add dimension and pop things up without using any foam. And you know me, I'm a foam aficionado. Okay, so I'm going to put these kind of up above. Let me put those. Okay, they are in the original kind of off to the right, so offset a bit to the right. So I'll put those there. And the photo is going to sub in for what we have here, a journaling block. And I'm going to let it extend way down to the bottom of the page. And I will put it more centered on the page. Okay, there we go. And now I'll kind of put these, all of this is cut from papers in the, other than these two, and of course this is gray cardstock, which did not come from Vicki Boutin. I'll kind of do it like that. Okay, and I have these typed strips. This is my title. It's gonna say New View, and I'm gonna kind of put it right here so you can see the red and the gray and the green. And it's, the room is kind of a new view for her room. I have this arrow, which I wanted to prop up. And so let me just kind of show you how I'm planning to do that. Normally I might put a piece of foam right across there, but I'm gonna do, well, let's see, I want to put this kind of right in the middle because I'm just doing the one. Just gonna do 4 layers, and what these are scraps I pulled out of my trash can. These are photo paper scraps, and they can't be recycled because of the coating they have on them. The recycling companies won't take them, and if you put them in, it kind of voids your whole bunch of recycling. They kind of just toss it all out into a landfill, and that kind of defeats the purpose. So I'm going to put that right there, and I've just created dimension and kind of lifted it up. So yay. Behind the title, I also wanted to lift things up. So I've cut some smaller strips from another scrap. This time it's pattern paper scraps in the trash. So again, and I might have thought to do some of this ahead of time, but I didn't. So I'm gonna do, I think I have enough for 4 layers on the one side, and I'll put 4 layers over on the other side. I've never done this before, and it's something that isn't particularly convenient to do, but if you're trying to challenge yourself to use only paper on a layout and no other, embellishments, then it's kind of not too bad. It's an easy one to kind of come up with. Okay, looks like I had 6 layers, so that's gonna stand up nicely. Maybe like 2 pieces of foam, and so that ought to be kind of cool. And it looks like I might have a little tiny bit sticking up, kind of showing there. I do this whole thing a little bit differently with a different part of the layout. So we'll see which method I like best. Okay, I'm gonna do this here. And I'm going to maybe use this strip. I might just use it here just to add that color in. This kind of departs from the sketch, but I'm not as interested in that as I am in kind of getting the, I use sketches as purely inspiration. I can use one of these butterflies down here. There is in the sketch kind of a banner with stars on it, and I'm trying to kind of go with that. And I've taken this paper, which is from Let's Wander, and I've die cut holes in the center of these really colorful kind of starry looking things. And it's given me these little goodies that have all the required colors in them, but and a few more, if I must say, there, and maybe, where's another whole one? We'll maybe go out here. And then I'm going to use a white pen to draw the string, if you will. Now, how I want to raise these up, other than this one, which is gonna tuck in behind here. I'm going to raise them up. So I've taken a bunch of scraps out of the trash and just kind of randomly glued them together. And I need 5 little stacks. And of course the glue isn't in the same place on the stack, so I am gonna have to maybe play with glue. That's what I was hoping to avoid, and this could have been avoided had I been a little more careful about where I put the glue. So that one's kind of sticking together and so. Okay, so I've got some little stacks that I'm going to stick on the backs of these. There, and I need to glue that and that. So it's going to take a little more time than I had thought. So lesson learned, but I can kind of put that there. This one, when I put the stack behind it, may, okay, that's good. Let me raise it up a little more. And I'm going to let it overlap the photo a bit. This other one is going to go up here, and I'm going to just do, oops, I got two there. I've got plenty of those to use. What I wanted to do was leave this with those holes, and maybe I could back it with something and use it on another layout, kind of as if it were a cut file. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. Not sure yet. Let's see what we've got there, and here, and then here. Okay, and I'm gonna put that kind of up there, and I'll let this one kind of hang down here, and I'll put it flat. And then I'll use my white pen later. I want to do these. I'm just going to cut them apart and use them maybe kind of like this. Okay, and I'll see how that works. Let's see, do I want to use this other gray bit? Maybe like that. I'd actually like it better if it overlapped kind of up here at the top, if it kind of went down like that. So that's gonna work, I think. Oh, come on. I'm not gonna measure it for any particular precision. Just kind of let it go there. Okay, now I want to show you some other ways. Another way I thought of to add some texture and dimension to the page is to roll paper scraps. And I've rolled and pre-glued these. I want to do this one, and I'll kind of show you how I did it and the adhesive I used, and then we'll talk about butterflies. So what I'm going to do is take this just a little scrap of paper. I had to play with it to determine the right width to get a good roll, and I can't say that I have any particular advice on it. You kind of have to try with what you want. And another thing I'm finding is that with certain pattern paper, it has a tendency to want to not be a round tube, but more triangular. And I figured, you know, that's texture anyway. So this one looks like it's maybe going the triangular route, but that's okay. I'm gonna use this double stick tape, which is very strong, and It's some tape that I kind of got reacquainted with. It is Rediscover Your Stash, right? So I got reacquainted with my adhesive stash when doing filming my lesson for Scrap Academy that's coming up on Saturday, all about glues and adhesives. So I kind of, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly in that video lesson. Okay, so I've taken the pencil out now and I'm kind of rolling it freehand. Let's try it. That's how I did the others. Let me try it with the pencil still in it to see if I get a rounder look. I mean, these should end up looking a little bit like drinking straws. And I'm going to use them in a way that I used to use drinking straws. Okay, so I've got that. So I have 5 of these, and I'm just going to let them, I was kind of hoping they might look like random, and again, I'm kind of adding willy-nilly to the sketch. It's not exactly how that's supposed to go. Let me get the, I'm going to pull this same adhesive back into play here, and I'm thinking that it might stick on the, those are not my adhesive cutting scissors. Let me get these out. I'm going to apply the adhesive to the side with the little seam so that the seam will be glued down and will be out of sight. And we'll see how well that works. And again, I've never done this before with these kinds of things, and I kind of want them to look like random sparks, kind of like these look like fireworks. These are just little offshoots, or as you're shooting up the fireworks or something like that. And it's just to evoke the excitement of these lights in Katie's room. And it's, in my mind's eye, that works. I have no idea what you'll see or think about it. Yeah, this one is, and I intended for them to be different sizes. If I were to do this over again, I might go for all the same size. It might be a little bit easier to look at, easier to arrange in a way that's pleasing to the eye. Okay, here's my real triangular one there, and this one can almost take some of this type of adhesive. You know what I'm gonna do? I told you that's really strong adhesive. I'm gonna put this one here and maybe kind of widen it out a bit, and then I can put this one up here. There we go. And then this one, and all of these are Vicki Boutin papers. Okay, this one needs this kind of adhesive. Okay. This is actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought of doing it. The lesson on paper, if you haven't seen it, by all means, go join Scrap Academy and check out the lesson on paper and see the incredible things that she did on her layout. Okay, so I've gone way off book on the sketch, but certainly you can see that it was inspired by it. Now, when I cut out butterflies, I cut these 2 out of this Vicki Boutin paper from a very old collection, and then I cut this one out of Wildflower and Honey. While it's kind of got the right color in it, it doesn't really look very good with these others. So I'm going to cut out a different butterfly. I'm going to go for this small turquoisey one. And then I'm going to stamp it with the same stamp that I used on those. And hopefully I can do this fairly quickly and not too precisely, and still kind of get you guys home on time or back to your lives. And oh, by the way, I'm excited. First time since February, I actually braved a very well protected, very clean nail salon and had my garden destroyed fingernails and my way too long overdue toenails manicured and pedicured today. Okay, here's the, and it feels wonderful. Here's my little stamp there and there and there. Okay, so that's kind of messy on there, but it's little twirly, kind of, I think of as butterfly tracks. So that's good for me. Now, I'm not going to use foam or anything to lift those up. I thought about maybe using this somewhere up in here because I had these, but it would interfere. That's the place they would have gone. Maybe just leave this one, and I think I will corner round it so that it kind of looks a little like a tab. And I'm not sure which end will be sticking out, so I'll do both. Maybe like that. Okay, and it'll show on both sides. Okay, that works for me. And I've still got that one to use for something else. Anyway, I'm really loving the Scrap Academy lessons. The one that Emily did on tools was great, and Nikki did the one on paper. And others have done those with the introductory lesson, and I'm hoping that I can keep up to their standard. Okay, this butterfly has a bit of a clipped wing, so I kind of thought I'd use it, tuck it under something, but it's so big, tucking it under, okay, this works. Tucking it under, I almost don't have room for it, but because this guy doesn't really stick all the way to the bottom, I can do it like that. And then kind of curl the wing up that way to give it some movement. I'm going to just put a tad of adhesive on here. And it's kind of propped up over a couple layers, so it does have a little bit of lift when it gets out to the flat background. And I'm gonna kind of offset them. If I had this through over again, if I'd read it and checked it for grammar, I'd have realized that I said she got new lights and I couldn't resist running it. It meaning the photo. So I think I'm gonna, at some point, chop off it and then add the photo there and correct that. But for now, that's kind of what I'm living with. Okay, so I have this hot pink butterfly, which looks like it might enjoy being here right on top of these little guys. Or do I want it down here? The pink here is clearly not the same. It's duller than the pinks, the hot pinks that showed there. So I'm gonna use it elsewhere. And up here, it's fine. It doesn't try to match anything. That's gonna stick out and have a problem in my album, so I'm gonna move it over a bit. Okay, and then I'll use this guy down here. And we lose that, that kind of juncture where that shows. Okay, I think we're done except for my white lettering. Or my white little line here. I'm going to do, let's see. So it looks like there are two strings or two threads or two cords or two pieces of floss or whatever there. And then I'm going to go from here, let's say, out to this guy and maybe have it cross and then go to this guy and have it cross, and from here to here, and then I'll kind of cross it right there, and here, down to there, and so that sort of evokes what's going on there. And I think in crossing the levels, there's a little bit of a break there, but I think it's obvious that it's only pen. So I'm okay with that. Is that my line? I'm okay with that. It's not perfect, and I'm okay with that. So, 3 challenges. The color scheme challenge, I think I definitely honored that. The paper challenge, to use lots of different kinds of paper and only paper. This is the only shaped embellishment that I used. I did all the shaping. And to add texture, so I did that. That may even be PhD level in the homework. I'll have to check on that. And I used the sketch. What I wanted to do here, that's kind of left wide open. That may have been where I was planning to use this butterfly. Should I do something else there? Do I need anything else there? How about moving this butterfly, okay, to the middle of that? That just kind of looked too empty for me, and that works. So it kind of tracks things down. Let me actually say that I might prefer this. where else could this be? Maybe even up here. I'll do that so that we've got the butterflies all up there. Okay. That seems to be a little bit more balanced. In the sketch, obviously, these were the photos and this was the journaling block, and I've kind of corrupted that whole idea. Okay, so I like these little guys, and I kind of like the little banner there, the homemade banner, and I love the photo, and so I'm happy with this page. Thank you very much for watching. My little remote has run out of battery, so I have to do it by hand. Let me make sure that's in frame. There you can see it all. I'll bring it up a little bit closer so you can see. Let me see that amazing photo that my son took. Okay, thank you all. See you next week. Bye.